The challenge. The arena was loud. Thousands of aliens and humans filled the seats, cheering and shouting. Bright lights shined down on the battlefield, where two warriors stood facing each other. One of them was Captain Ryan Carter, Earth's champion. He was tall for a human, with strong muscles and sharp eyes. But today, he looked small, because standing in front of him was a 13-foot-tall alien warrior. Her name was Kyra, and she was not just any alien. She was from the Drax Empire, a race of warriors feared across the galaxy. Her body was covered in black and gold armor, and her muscles looked like they were made of steel. She held a massive energy spear, its sharp tip glowing red. The grand tournament was a test. The Drax believed only the strongest deserved respect. Humans had joined the tournament to prove they were not weak. But no human had ever won against a Drax warrior. Until today. Ryan tightened his fists. He had trained for this moment for months. He had studied the fighting styles of the Drax. He knew their speed, their strength, and their weaknesses. But knowing was different from fighting. Kyra took a step forward, and the ground shook beneath her. She grinned. "Are you afraid, human?" Ryan smirked. "Afraid? No, but I hope you don't cry when you lose." The crowd roared with laughter. Kyra's yellow eyes flashed. She lunged forward, her spear swinging fast. Ryan dodged, the air whistling past his ear. The force of her attack left a deep mark on the ground where he had just stood. She was fast. Too fast. Ryan rolled to the side and stood up quickly. Kyra didn't wait. She attacked again. This time, Ryan blocked the spear with his metal gauntlet. Pain shot up his arm, but he stayed on his feet. He needed to find an opening. "Not bad," Kyra said, "but not good enough." She swung her leg, trying to kick him. Ryan jumped back, barely avoiding her powerful strike. He knew if she landed a direct hit, he would be crushed. He had to be smarter. He had to outthink her. Ryan's eyes scanned her armor. It was thick, covering her chest and arms. But her knees and lower legs had less protection. That was his chance. Kyra attacked again, her spear stabbing forward. This time, Ryan didn't dodge. Instead, he moved closer inside her reach. She was caught off guard. Ryan ducked and slammed his elbow into her exposed knee. Kyra let out a sharp growl. She stumbled for a second, just what Ryan needed. He spun around and punched the back of her leg with all his strength. Kyra's knee buckled. She fell to one knee, her spear shaking in her grip. The crowd gasped. A human had made a Drax warrior fall. Ryan didn't stop. He moved fast, jumping onto her back and wrapping his arm around her thick neck. He pulled tight, locking her in a hold. Kyra struggled, but Ryan's grip was strong. She tried to stand up, but her injured leg slowed her down. For a moment, it looked like she might break free. But Ryan had trained for this. He shifted his weight and pulled harder. Kyra's body dropped to the ground with a loud thud. Silence filled the arena. Then, cheers exploded. The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. "Victory! The human, Captain Ryan Carter, has defeated the Drax warrior." Ryan released his grip and stepped back, breathing hard. Sweat dripped from his forehead. But he had done it. He had beaten one of the strongest warriors in the galaxy. He expected anger. He expected the Drax to rush in, furious at their warrior's defeat. Instead, Kyra laughed. It was a deep, powerful laugh. She stood up slowly, rubbing her neck. Her golden eyes locked onto Ryan, filled with something strange. Not hatred, not rage, admiration. She took a step toward him. Ryan tensed, ready for another fight. But Kyra did something unexpected. She knelt. The crowd gasped again. The Drax never bowed to anyone. But now, one of their strongest warriors was on one knee before a human. Kyra smirked. "You are strong, human. I have chosen you." Ryan frowned. "Chosen me for what?" Zyra's smirk widened. To give me strong offspring. Ryan's mind froze. Wait, what? The crowd cheered louder, but Ryan barely heard them. He had trained for combat, for survival. But he had never trained for this. What had he just gotten himself into? A warrior's proposal. The cheers of the crowd still echoed in Ryan's ears, but his mind was frozen. Did she just say, offspring? Zyra, the towering Drax warrior he had just defeated, knelt before him with a confident smirk. Her golden eyes glowed under the arena lights. Ryan took an unconscious step back, his heart pounding, not from the fight, but from the unexpected twist in his victory. What do you mean, offspring? Ryan asked, his voice cautious. Zyra tilted her head, studying him like a scientist observing an interesting specimen. You fought with honor. You are strong. I have never met a human like you. She paused, then said with certainty, I will bear your children. Ryan almost choked. He had prepared for war, for deadly fights, for survival in the alien tournament, but he had not prepared for a 13-foot alien warrior demanding his DNA. The crowd roared in approval, and Ryan noticed something even more unsettling. The Drax leaders, sitting on their golden thrones high above the arena, were nodding in agreement. One of them, an elder with deep scars across his blue skin, stood up. His voice was like rolling thunder. The human has proven himself in combat. He has earned the right to join our strongest bloodline. Ryan's stomach dropped. What kind of messed up tradition was this? Hold on, he said, raising his hands. I came here to prove that humans are warriors. Not whatever this is. Zyra looked confused. You do not wish to create stronger warriors. Ryan pinched the bridge of his nose. That's not how things work where I come from. The crowd murmured. Some of the Drax warriors looked at each other, puzzled. To them, this was an honor. The elder spoke again. You misunderstand, human. This is not a request. It is your reward. Ryan's pulse quickened. Did they just say he didn't have a choice? His military instincts kicked in. He glanced around the arena, looking for escape routes. Too many guards. Too many eyes watching. He had fought his way in, but fighting his way out, that was another story. Zyra stood, towering over him once more, but instead of looking angry, she looked determined. I will not force you, she said, but you will soon understand why this must happen. Ryan narrowed his eyes. And if I say no? Zyra smirked. Then I will have to change your mind. Ryan didn't like the sound of that. The locked city. That night, Ryan was led to an ornate chamber, larger than any military barracks he had ever seen. It wasn't a prison, but it wasn't exactly freedom either. Tall metallic walls curved high above, forming a ceiling of glowing energy symbols. The room had everything: advanced technology, food, even luxurious silk bedding. But there were no doors. Ryan ran a hand over his face. Trapped. He walked to the massive window overlooking the Drax capital. Below, the city stretched endlessly, its skyline filled with massive spires and glowing streets. Hundreds of warships hovered above, ready for battle at any moment. No way to escape. Not without a plan. A deep voice interrupted his thoughts. You think of running. Ryan turned. Zyra stood at the entrance, her armor removed, revealing battle scars along her arms and legs. Without the armor, she looked even more imposing. Ryan crossed his arms. Do I have a choice? Zyra stepped closer, tilting her head. You are strange, human. Any other warrior would accept this honor. Ryan shook his head. On Earth, things don't work this way. We don't force people into. He hesitated, searching for the right word. Breeding programs. Then how do your warriors grow strong? Ryan sighed. We train. We fight. We win. Zyra studied him for a moment, then said, Show me. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Show you what? How humans train. How you became strong. Ryan hesitated. Was this an opportunity? If he could earn her trust, maybe he could find a way out. Or maybe he could learn why she was so determined to have his bloodline. He took a deep breath. Fine, but I don't train alone. Zyra grinned. Good. Then we begin at sunrise. Secrets in the shadows. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. Something felt off. He sat by the window, staring at the glowing city. The Dracs were warriors, but why were they so desperate for stronger offspring? Why was Skyra, one of their strongest, so eager to mix her bloodline with his? Then he saw something strange. A ship in the distance, hovering near the capital's outer defense rings. It was not Drax technology. Ryan frowned. His military training told him one thing. That was a scout ship. But whose? A sudden knock on his door made him jump. Zyra entered, looking serious. Something is coming, she said. Ryan's stomach tightened. Something worse than you? He asked. Zyra's eyes darkened. Much worse. Escape or destiny? Ryan Carter had been in many tight situations before. War zones, deep space battles, even hostage rescues, but nothing compared to this. Trapped in a golden cage, surrounded by an alien civilization that expected him to mate with their strongest warrior. He felt like a prize instead of a soldier. But something was off. The Dracs were too focused on his genetics, too eager for a hybrid offspring. What were they afraid of? And then there was that ship. Ryan had seen it the night before, hovering outside the Dracs' capital's defenses. It didn't belong to the Dracs. Was it a threat? A rescue? Or something worse? He needed answers. And to get them, he needed to play along. The training begins. At sunrise, Ryan was led to an open-air training arena built on top of a massive tower. The sky stretched endlessly above them, with warships patrolling the clouds like silent guardians. Zyra was already waiting for him, wearing minimal armor this time, just enough to move freely. She wanted a real fight. Ryan cracked his knuckles. So, what's this? A rematch? Zyra smirked. No. A test. Ryan raised an eyebrow. A test for what? Zyra's golden eyes locked onto his. To see if you are worthy to fight by my side. Ryan's gut told him this was about more than just training. But if he was going to survive here, he needed to know what she knew. Fine, he said, stepping into the fighting ring. Let's see what you got. Strength versus strategy. Zyra attacked first. Fast, brutal, precise. Ryan barely dodged her first strike before she swung again, forcing him to roll to the side. She was faster than before, like she had been holding back in their first fight. Ryan blocked a heavy kick, feeling the force rattle through his bones. She was testing him, pushing him. Ryan knew that if he fought her way, pure strength, he would lose. But he had something she didn't. Tactics. Zyra lunged again. This time, Ryan feinted left, baiting her into overextending her punch. At the last second, he twisted around her arm and struck her exposed ribs. Crack. Zyra grunted but didn't back down. Instead, she grinned. Good. Ryan didn't have time to celebrate. Zyra grabbed his wrist and twisted, flipping him onto the ground. He barely had time to recover before she was on top of him, pinning him down. Ryan growled. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Zyra leaned closer, her smirk widening. You learn fast, but you can learn more. Ryan shoved her off and jumped to his feet, breathing hard. Enough games, he said. Tell me the real reason you need me. Zyra's smile faded. Because war is coming. Ryan's heart pounded. He had suspected it, but now he had confirmation. Tell me everything. The threat beyond the stars. Zyra led him to a command chamber deep inside the Drax fortress. A massive holographic display flickered to life, showing the dark fleet approaching the Drax homeworld. Ryan's blood ran cold. The ships weren't Drax, and they definitely weren't human. Who are they? He asked. Zyra's expression hardened. We call them the Kryn. Ryan had never heard of them before, but the way Xyra's voice lowered sent a chill down his spine. They do not fight for honor. They do not fight for territory. They fight to erase. Ryan clenched his fists. You mean genocide? Xyra nodded. They burn entire civilizations to the ground. And they are coming for us. Ryan stared at the hologram, processing the information. The Dracs were one of the strongest warrior races in the galaxy, if even they were afraid. How dangerous were the Kryn? What do they want? He asked. Xyra turned to him, her golden eyes serious. To wipe us out. Every last one. The true reason for the hybrid program. Ryan exhaled slowly. Now it made sense. The Dracs weren't looking for stronger offspring just to build better warriors. They were desperate. They were losing. And they thought human DNA could save them. You believe a human Drax hybrid can stop them, Ryan said, realization dawning. Xyra nodded. Our warriors are strong, but we lack adaptability. Humans are different. You are unpredictable. You do not fight with just strength. You fight with mind and strategy. Ryan ran a hand through his hair. This was bigger than just him. But it also meant something else. Earth was in danger too. If the Kryn wiped out the Dracs, how long before they found Earth? Sarah watched him closely. Now do you see why I chose you? Ryan didn't answer right away. His instincts screamed at him to escape, to get back to Earth, and warn humanity. But another part of him, the soldier, knew the truth. This war was coming, and running wouldn't stop it. The choice. Ryan looked back at the hologram of the approaching fleet. Thousands of enemy ships, a race that knew only destruction. He clenched his fists. He had never backed down from a fight before. But could he really trust the Dracs? Could he trust Xyra? She stepped closer. You are not a prisoner, Ryan Carter. You are a warrior. And we need you. Ryan locked eyes with her. He had a choice to make. Escape and warn Earth. Or stay and fight alongside the Dracs to stop a war before it reached his home. One decision would change everything. Ryan took a deep breath. And he made his choice. The coming war. The war wasn't coming. It was already here. Ryan Carter stood in the Drax war chamber, staring at the holographic display of an approaching enemy fleet. The Kryn, a race he had never heard of before, a race that erased civilizations. He clenched his fists. Earth wasn't ready for this. The Drax weren't either. He turned to Xyra. How long until they reached this planet? Xyra's golden eyes burned with determination. 3 cycles. Ryan frowned. Days. Weeks. Xyra shook her head. Your time is different. But soon. Ryan exhaled slowly. He had been so focused on escaping, on resisting Xyra's strange proposal, that he hadn't considered the bigger picture. The Dracs were desperate. They weren't just looking for strong offspring. They were looking for a way to survive. And if they lost, Earth was next. The first attack. The warning alarms blared across the city. A low, vibrating hum that sent chills down Ryan's spine. Xyra grabbed a nearby communicator and barked a command in her native language. A second later, a live feed appeared on the war table. Ryan's stomach dropped. The Kryn had already arrived. A small strike fleet had broken through the outer defenses, moving fast toward the city. The Kryn ships were different from anything Ryan had seen before. Black, angular, almost organic looking. Their movement was unnatural, erratic, unpredictable, like living creatures hunting prey. They weren't just testing defenses. They were hunting. Ryan turned to Xyra. We need to stop them before they reach the surface. Xyra nodded. The fleet is ready. Ryan didn't hesitate. I'm coming with you. She raised an eyebrow. You wish to fight? Ryan grabbed a nearby weapon, a compact, high-energy rifle. I'm not just here to stand around. Xyra's smirk returned. Good. Let's see if humans truly deserve their reputation. Battle in the sky. Ryan stood in the drop bay of the Drax warship, surrounded by massive alien warriors preparing for combat. They checked their weapons, adjusted their armor, and prepared for battle like it was routine. For Ryan, this was anything but routine. A holographic countdown appeared on the bay doors. 5. Ryan tightened his grip on the rifle. 4. Zyra stood beside him, calm and focused. 3. Outside, the Kryn ships moved closer, their black hulls glowing with strange energy. 2. Ryan's heart pounded. 1. The doors blasted open, and the warriors launched into the void. Ryan felt his stomach flip as he was pulled into the battlefield. The Drax drop system was different from anything he had experienced. No pods, no vehicles. Just raw, high-speed propulsion, sending warriors directly into combat. Ryan activated his thrusters, dodging a Kryn energy blast that barely missed his head. He twisted midair, scanning the battlefield. The Kryn were fast. Too fast. Zyra's voice crackled in his earpiece. "We need to take out their command ship." Ryan spotted it, a large, insect-like warship sitting at the edge of the battle, coordinating the attack. "Cover me," he said, adjusting his trajectory. Zyra grinned. "Try to keep up, human." Infiltrating the Kryn. Ryan and Zyra landed hard on the Kryn command ship's hull. The surface was strangely organic, pulsing with an eerie glow. Ryan felt his skin crawl. "This thing is alive." Zyra nodded. "The Kryn do not build their ships. They grow them." Ryan didn't like that. Not one bit. They moved fast, cutting through a hatch and entering the ship's dark interior. The walls pulsed, almost breathing. Strange, whispering sounds echoed through the corridors. Ryan gripped his weapon tighter. "I really hate this place." Zyra smirked. "Then let's leave. After we destroy it." They moved deeper, avoiding Kryn patrols. Tall, thin creatures with elongated limbs and void-like eyes. The air around them shimmered with energy, as if reality itself was bending in their presence. Ryan shivered. They weren't just aliens. They were something else. Something worse. They reached the command core, a swirling mass of black energy. Zyra pulled out a detonation device and placed it near the core. Ryan exhaled. "All right, let's get out of here." But before they could move, the shadows around them shifted. A voice, deep and unnatural, spoke directly into Ryan's mind. "You do not belong here, human." Ryan turned slowly. A Kryn warlord stood before him, its form shifting like liquid darkness. It didn't have a mouth, but somehow Ryan knew it was smiling. "You are interesting." Ryan raised his weapon. "Yeah, you won't think so after I blow up your ship." The Kryn warlord chuckled, the sound echoing inside his skull. Ryan felt his pulse quicken. That meant they wouldn't stop until everything was gone. Another explosion rocked the ship. Ryan grabbed onto the nearest console to steady himself. His military instincts screamed at him. They were being overwhelmed. They were losing. Zyra growled. "If we fall back, they will follow. If we stay, we will be destroyed." Ryan clenched his fists. Neither option was good enough. Then a thought hit him, a crazy, suicidal thought. "We don't stop them. We stop their leader." Zyra frowned. "The Kryn have no leader. They are a hive." Ryan shook his head. "No, I saw something on that ship. A warlord. It spoke to me." Zyra's expression darkened. "That is impossible. The Kryn do not speak. They consume." Ryan exhaled. Then why did it talk to him? Why did it call them the future? No time for questions. He turned to the High Commander. "We need to find their central mind. If we take it out, we might have a chance." The commander hesitated, then nodded. "We have one lead. A massive energy signature is forming at the edge of the system." Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. That was it. The real enemy. He looked at Zyra. "We take the fight to them. She grinned. Now you speak like a warrior. The dark arrival. As Ryan and Syra boarded a stealth assault ship, the Drax forces struggled to hold back the Kryn onslaught. The fleet was burning. The capital city below was already in flames. They were out of time. The ship launched, streaking toward the mysterious energy signal at the edge of the system. Ryan stared out the window as they approached. Then he saw it. A massive structure, floating in the void. A black sphere, shifting and pulsing like a living heart. Zyra's eyes narrowed. That is not a ship. Ryan's hands tightened into fists. No, it's something worse. Then the whispers returned. Soft at first, crawling into his mind. Then a voice. Come to me, human. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. It was the same voice from the Kryn warlord. Zyra turned to him. Ryan? He looked at her. His head was pounding, his vision blurring. The voice was pulling him in. Then everything went black. Betrayal and truth. Darkness. Ryan Carter felt weightless, drifting in an endless void. His mind pulsed with whispers, alien voices slipping into his thoughts like cold fingers. You are the key. You are the future. You will become us. His heart pounded. No, I'm not like you. A sudden shockwave jolted him back. His vision snapped into focus. He wasn't in the void anymore. He was in the cockpit of the Drax stealth assault ship. The alarms blared, red lights flashing across the control panels. Zyra's voice broke through the noise. Ryan, wake up. He gasped for air, sweat dripping down his face. What the hell just happened? The black sphere loomed ahead, pulsing with eerie, shifting patterns. A massive living structure, the heart of the Kryn. Ryan turned to Zyra. Did you hear that? She frowned. Hear what? He swallowed hard. It was only in his head. Zyra focused on the ship's controls. We are approaching the structure. No defenses detected. Ryan exhaled. That was wrong. Way too wrong. It's a trap. Zyra smirked. Then we walk into it, together. Ryan shook off the lingering voices in his head and gripped his weapon. They had a mission. Find the Kryn's leader, if it even had one, and end this war before it reached Earth. They moved fast, securing their armor before launching themselves toward the black sphere. As they entered, the walls of the structure shifted, reacting to their presence. Ryan felt his skin crawl. The Kryn weren't just an army. They were alive. Inside the hive. The corridors pulsed, breathing like veins in a massive body. A strange mist clung to the air, carrying whispers that Ryan could almost, but not quite, understand. Zyra moved ahead, scanning their surroundings. I do not like this place. Ryan forced a smirk. Oh good. I thought it was just me. Zyra ignored his sarcasm, pressing forward. The deeper they went, the more unnatural the structure became. Hallways twisted in impossible directions. Shadowy figures moved just beyond their vision, vanishing before they could be seen clearly. Then the voices came back. But this time, they weren't just whispers. You should not be here. Ryan's breath hitched. The voice was clearer now. More real. Zyra stiffened. Who said that? Ryan scanned the darkness ahead. Something was waiting for them, watching. Then the walls peeled open, and a tall figure stepped forward. Ryan felt his blood run cold. It was human. The betrayer. The figure was tall, armored, and undeniably human. His skin was pale, his eyes glowing with the same eerie black energy that pulsed through the Kryn hive. Ryan raised his weapon. Who the hell are you? The man smiled. Captain Ryan Carter. Ryan's hands clenched. How do you know my name? The man stepped closer. Because I was once like you. Ryan hesitated. This was impossible. No humans had ever encountered the Kryn before. Right? Zyra moved to attack, but the man raised a hand. Instantly, The walls came alive, tendrils of black energy forming a barrier around him. Ryan's instincts screamed. This was no ordinary human. You don't remember, do you? The man said. But they remember you. Ryan gritted his teeth. What are you talking about? The man's eyes darkened. The Kryn don't conquer. They collect. Ryan's heart pounded. Collected? The man continued. They take the strongest warriors, the most dangerous minds, and they make them part of the hive. Ryan shook his head. That's not possible. The man's smirk widened. Then tell me, Ryan, why can you hear them? Ryan's breath caught. The whispers, the visions. They had started ever since he stepped onto the Kryn command ship, since the warlord spoke to him. A horrifying realization hit him. The Kryn weren't just invading. They were looking for him. The truth revealed. Ryan took a step back, his mind racing. This was why the Kryn spoke to him. Why they called him the future. They knew him. Or at least, they knew what he was supposed to become. Zyra's golden eyes burned with fury. You are a traitor. The man chuckled. I am more than that. I am the next step. Ryan forced himself to focus. No, he wasn't one of them. He wasn't like this thing. But doubt crept in. Was that what they wanted him to become? The man's smile faded. You have a choice, Ryan. Join us, or be erased. Ryan's grip on his rifle tightened. He was done running, done questioning. He raised his weapon. Go to hell. The man sighed. Disappointing. Then the walls exploded outward. Black tendrils lashed out, pulling Ryan and Zyra apart. The hive itself came alive, its walls twisting and shifting as Kryn warriors emerged from the shadows. Ryan fought to move, but the darkness pulled him under. The last thing he heard was the man's voice, whispering in his ear. It's already begun. Then everything went black. A new beginning. Darkness. Ryan Carter drifted in the void, weightless, cold, silent. But he wasn't alone. They were here. The Kryn's whispers curled around his mind like smoke, crawling into his thoughts, searching. You are one of us. You are the next step. Let go and become. Ryan gritted his teeth. No, I am not one of you. A sudden shockwave ripped through his body. He gasped, his lungs burning as if he had been drowning. His vision snapped into focus. He was no longer in the hive. Instead, he was strapped to a metal table, glowing black veins crawling along his arms. His heart slammed against his ribs. What the hell had they done to him? Captured by the Kryn. Ryan struggled, but his limbs felt heavy. The room was dim, its walls shifting like liquid shadow. Strange symbols pulsed along the floor, humming in a language he didn't understand. But somehow, deep in his bones, he knew their meaning. They were changing him. No, I won't let this happen. A movement in the darkness. The human traitor stepped forward, his pale face unreadable. You still resist? He asked. Ryan clenched his fists. I don't take orders from corpses. The man chuckled. You think you're still human, but you're not. They've already begun their work. Ryan glanced down. His skin was still his own, but beneath it, he could feel something shifting. A presence. Something alive. The man leaned closer. You've felt it, haven't you? The whispers. The power. Ryan's head throbbed. No, it wasn't real. But deep down, he wasn't sure anymore. The traitor smirked. You are special. The first human to evolve beyond his limits. The Kryn want you to lead them. Ryan spat on the floor. Not happening. The man sighed. That's what I said too. In the beginning. Then he raised his hand. The walls shivered, and from the darkness, creatures emerged, twisted, deformed figures. Some of them were Dracs. Ryan's blood went cold. Zyra's people turned into this. The man's voice was soft, almost gentle. They resisted too. At first. Ryan's rage boiled over. He ripped against his restraints, gritting his teeth as something inside him stirred. A pulse of energy shot through his veins. And suddenly, the metal bindings snapped apart. The traitor's eyes widened. Ah, there it is. Ryan didn't hesitate. He lunged forward, grabbing the man by the throat and slamming him into the wall. I am not one of you. The man only smiled. That's what makes you dangerous. Then the walls exploded. The final battle. Zyra had found him. Her massive form crashed through the chamber walls, energy blades slicing through the Kryn creatures. Ryan staggered back as she cut down the last of them, then turned to him, her golden eyes burning. You're still you, she demanded. Ryan took a shaky breath. I don't know. Zyra didn't hesitate. She grabbed his arm and pulled him forward. Then let's make sure you stay that way. They ran. The hive was collapsing, its dark energy unraveling. Outside, the battle raged on. Drax warships burned. The Kryn swarmed through the skies, pushing toward the final strongholds. Ryan and Sarah reached the extraction point where a Drax transport ship hovered just above the crumbling surface. Thyra turned to Ryan. We can still destroy the hive from the inside, but we need time. Ryan's mind raced. They had come all this way to stop the Kryn. But if the enemy had already started changing him, could he be trusted? Could he even go back? A shadow moved behind them. The traitor was still alive. But now his body was changing, his form shifting, his face splitting apart into something monstrous. Ryan gripped his weapon. No, it ended here. The man's voice echoed in his head one last time. You can't fight what's already inside you. Ryan fired. A bright pulse of energy exploded, engulfing the traitor and tearing through the hive's core. Then, everything collapsed. A new future. Ryan opened his eyes. He was on a Drax warship, staring out the window at the ruins of the Kryn hive. It was over. Or was it? Zyra sat beside him, watching the destruction. You did it. Ryan exhaled. We did it. But in the back of his mind, he could still hear them. Faint, like an echo. Zyra noticed his expression. You hear them, don't you? Ryan looked at his hands. They were still human, but for how long? He turned back to the stars, his jaw tightening. The war was over, but his fight had just begun.